So these are the ingredients that you're going to need today. We first start off with our soy sauce, 2 onions, which are medium sized, one's a little bit smaller, an oil of your choice. I use coconut oil, I find it works the best. I have just a Clubhouse curry powder, half a lime, a can of coconut milk, and a can of chickpeas. I definitely recommend getting this brand of chickpeas. It's the PC Blue menu. There's no salt added, so it kind of keeps the recipe a little bit lower in sodium, as well as 3 cloves of garlic. So I'm just going to be using this garlic press to squeeze the garlic in with the onions. And so I'm just going to take about a tablespoon of this coconut oil and add it into the pan. Okay, so our pan's been heating up over medium heat for a few minutes now. Our coconut oil is all melted. I'm going to go ahead and add in the mixture of onions and garlic that I prepared earlier. And you don't want to overcook the onion, you're basically just cooking it until it goes clear and they become sweet. And in this recipe, I'm using just a curry powder. You can use like a curry paste if you prefer something like a red curry paste, which has a lot more spice to it. I prefer just using the powder. I find it easier to use and easier to add on to things, just for a little extra boost of flavor. I'm going to go ahead and add in a heaping tablespoon of curry powder. A full can of coconut milk. You can use other types of milk, like a soy milk or an almond milk, or to make it not vegan you could just use whole milk. But I find using the coconut milk works the best because it has a higher fat content, so it just makes it a whole lot creamier than if you used soy milk or almond milk. I'm also going to add in just a little bit of salt. The recipe calls for a pinch of salt, which is, I usually put in about this much. It's probably about half a teaspoon of salt, maybe even a quarter teaspoon of salt. I'd prefer to undersalt a dish rather than oversalt it because it's easier to just add a little bit of salt on top afterwards rather than trying to cover up the amount of salt that you put in. And you do want to keep a close eye on it. You don't want it to come to like a raging boil or anything. So now that everything's kind of mixed in, I'm going to add in the can of chickpeas, which have already been washed and rinsed off. Needs to be added from the recipe is just soy sauce. I start out with just doing like 1 tablespoon. It calls for 2, but start out with 1 and stir it in and give it a taste and see if you like it. Soy sauce can be overpowering, kind of because it is so salty. You don't want to use too much of it. The last ingredient that you can add in is the lime. The recipe calls for half a lime, but of course you can up it to a full lime if you prefer that acidic, citrusy kind of flavor. Okay, so you only have to cook this for about 5 minutes. You don't want it to reduce down too much because it's going to be served with rice, and rice tends to soak up a lot of liquid as well. Sometimes whenever you're making curry, it can get too sweet, and if you find that it is too sweet, this is usually because of the coconut milk just adds a sweetness to it. Just add more lemon or lime juice to it. Okay, and this is the final product of what the curry looks like. It's liquidy, but it's not too liquidy. The chickpeas are all warmed up. The onions are nice and soft. And everything is incorporated well. Okay, to serve your curry, you can either use quinoa or a rice. Quinoa does have a higher protein content than rice, but it does have a different texture that you kind of have to get used to. The rice that I use is a long grain brown rice. I prefer to use the rice because it soaks up more of the curry liquid, and it just incorporates really well. It tastes really nice. If you're trying to get into eating quinoa, what I usually do is I just mix the two together, and that way it kind of takes away from just having the texture of quinoa and just the texture of rice. The curry makes quite a few servings. I usually like to cook a bunch of rice in advance. This is about 1 cup of long grain brown rice cooked up, and it makes almost 2.5 cups of rice in total. That way whenever I'm going to work, or if I just get home from work, I don't have to worry about finding something to eat. I can just take out a scoop of rice, take out a scoop of curry, heat it up, and I have either dinner or lunch. Thank you for watching my video for a vegan chickpea curry. I had a lot of fun making this video. If you have any other requests that you'd like me to make, please leave a comment in the bottom and like my video. Thank you!